So, Nick, appreciate you taking some time to meet with us on this. This is really the third in a list of new classes that we've been building for entrepreneurship. This one, funding for entrepreneurs. What we've done in each case is gone out and brought people in from the community that know a little bit about the topics we're talking about. Well, in this case, I think you know a little bit more than a little bit about the topics, and I know your background, but as well as being an instructor here at the college, could you talk a little bit about your experience in the financial management world?
So certainly, and I appreciate the opportunity here today, Ben. So it started with getting a finance degree, right? I went to University of South Florida, got a finance degree. Do want to clarify, did not grow up knowing finance, had no understanding of finance, only learned it as an opportunity under the business program. So you don't have to be a math genius, right? It's not something that you have to sort of overthink, right? But from a finance perspective, I started working for a large auto manufacturer, okay, in their finance arm. So that really started my career after I got my degree, and I learned to do financial analysis and really understand the numbers. And then I moved on to working for several large U.S. banks and then an international bank across about 20 years, working with small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and then large corporate businesses, right? Different types of needs. And then upon running my own commercial group for an international bank, we sold as far as the U.S. operations, and then ended up starting my own consulting company where I work as a CFO, part-time CFO for several large private companies.
So we teach here at the college a lot on accounting and understanding the transactions of business and the language of business. But what we're talking about in this class and what you've done in much of your career is taking that data and moving it forward and looking at using it as an instrument of measurement and understanding and calculations. Can you talk a little bit about that transition from accounting to finance and how you've seen that work in your experience?
Yeah, and certainly they go hand in hand, right? So accounting is historical records of your financial reporting, right? But if you didn't have that historical, you couldn't look at finance. And what I always tell people is that accounting is looking in the past and finance is looking in the future, right? That makes it very easy to understand. But they go hand in hand. You can't do one without the other. And so from a finance perspective, you're looking at that accounting, all the recorded data of your revenues, expenses, your sales, your assets, right? All of those important things. And you're trying to figure out into the future what you're going to need from a financing perspective. That means forecasting your numbers, right? Forecasting your revenues, creating budgets, and then determining, and we call it capital, it's a fancy word, right? For any types of either debt or equity to go ahead and keep the operations in the business going forward, right? Whether you're growing or trying to maintain, there's always some level of financing that's going to be needed. Now, go ahead.
No, and just to clarify, because you mentioned something earlier about being a CFO. What is that role versus a VP of accounting or separating those two functions?
It's a good question. So if you're in the accounting group or a VP or overseeing the accounting, you're taking the data and you're recording it, generally into an accounting system. Most entrepreneurs or small businesses will use QuickBooks, right? And then as they grow larger, there's more sophisticated accounting systems. But you're recording all of that data. From a finance perspective or a CFO perspective, I'm taking that data and I'm looking at, how profitable certain products may be or what the trends are each year, the revenues and expenses, and then trying to forecast what that's going to look like. And you're actually making strategic decisions that will influence, right, negatively or positively, the financial outcome or performance of that business.